I'm David Merrill. I'm 38. I live just outside Chicago, and I work in cybersecurity, which basically means I spend my days spotting things other people miss, patterns, breaches, tiny details that feel off. You'd be amazed how much trouble starts with one unchecked box or one lazy password. It's a quiet job, but I like it that way. Clean, controlled, predictable, which is why what happened next felt like watching a car crash in slow motion and realizing I was the one in the passenger seat. I've got one brother, Matt, 3 years younger, same blue eyes, same last name, completely different wiring. If I'm structure, he's chaos. If I'm slow and steady, he's fast and loud. We were never exactly close, but we were never at war either, just orbiting each other. I kept to my lane, he crashed through his. Growing up, Matt was the kind of kid who'd copy my homework, charm his way through parent-teacher meetings, then blame me when he got caught. He had that smile, the come on man, help me out look, and too many people fell for it, including me, for years. But we're not kids anymore. We've got bills, jobs. Matt runs some kind of marketing gig, always vague, always on the edge of something big. And somehow, despite the mess, he always manages to land on his feet. Or so it seemed. Until one Thursday morning, I opened my mailbox and found something strange. It was a letter from a finance company I didn't recognize. The kind with bold red print and a window envelope that screams trouble. At first, I figured it was spam. But then I saw the details. My name, my address, my social security number, partially redacted, but still, it was mine. The letter said I had missed a payment. On a loan for $92,000. I froze. I've never borrowed that kind of money in my life. Not even for college. So I pulled up my credit report right then and there. Sat on my couch with my laptop balanced on my knees, heart pounding harder than I'd like to admit. I expected a mistake, some glitch in the system. But no, there it was. A brand new personal loan taken out in my name. 2 months ago. Big amount. Sky-high interest rate. Active. Past due. My first reaction? Numb. My second? One word, Matt. I can't explain it, not logically. But I knew. In my bones. He was the only person reckless enough to do something like this. And the only one who had access to the scraps of personal info needed to pull it off. See, I'd helped him once before. Years ago. Co-signed a small car loan. He swore it was short-term, swore I'd barely notice. 2 months later, the car got repossessed, and I was stuck with a hit to my credit. We hadn't talked about money since. I thought he'd learned his lesson. I thought I had. Apparently not. Now, most people would call him right then, scream, demand answers. But I work in digital forensics. Screaming doesn't solve much. And Matt? He lies better when he's cornered. So I didn't confront him. Not yet. I poured myself a cup of coffee instead, sat at my desk, and started digging. I checked the lender, traced the application details, cross-referenced dates with his social media. Yeah, he still posts like he's trying to impress high school classmates. I made a folder on my desktop, Loangate. And as I sat there, screenshotting timestamps and printing credit alerts, I felt something strange. Not anger, not even surprise, just confirmation. He finally crossed a line I couldn't pretend wasn't there. And I was done cleaning up after him. It didn't take long. A couple of well-placed logins, some credit monitoring, and a few public records later, and I had everything I needed. The loan application was digital. Sloppy. Whoever filled it out used my name, but not my habits. Different browser, unfamiliar IP, no two-factor authentication. Rookie stuff. And then came the kicker, an e-signature. It was mine, sort of. A scan of my name, lifted from a document I once sent Matt when he needed proof of address to switch a phone plan. I remember the conversation now, how casual it felt. I'd sent him the PDF in under 2 minutes, didn't even think twice. Guess he did. But the real confirmation came when I pulled the call logs tied to the loan verification. They used a number, Matt's number. One I recognized from years of family group texts and you up? Voicemails when he needed to borrow $20. Same number that once sent me a selfie from Vegas with a bottle of champagne and a caption that just said winning. This time, not so much. I sat back in my chair, phone in hand, watching the evidence stack like slow, certain snowfall. I didn't call him. What was there to say? Hey man, did you steal nearly 6 figures from me and tank my credit while you posted gym selfies and motivational quotes? No, talking was for people who respected language. Matt turned lies into air. Light, disposable, always floating above consequence. So I documented every login, every loan detail, every screenshot of his tagged location that matched the time the loan was processed. I even backed up the metadata, because I knew once I moved, he'd try to backpedal or delete. I called my lawyer, not to sue yet, just to ask hypotheticals. She didn't need much detail before her voice dropped to register. "This happens more than you think," she said. "But most people don't get ahead of it like you are." I smiled at that, because she didn't know. I'd already gotten way ahead of it. While Matt thought he was stealing, I was already steering. I started checking the assets in his name. Not much. But then I remembered the vacation house. A dusty 2-bedroom on the lake our family used to visit before life got complicated and phones got smarter. Matt inherited it after our dad passed, mostly out of convenience. Nobody else wanted it. I did some digging. Turns out, he refinanced it last year. Used it as collateral on another short-term loan he probably never intended to repay. The value wasn't huge, but legally, it was still property. Property I could claim. If I played this right. No police reports. I didn't want to alert him. I wanted him comfortable, unaware. Because the best part about people like Matt? They never notice the quiet ones until they've already lost. And I was just getting started. It's strange, watching someone bury themselves while smiling. Matt had no idea I knew. That was the beautiful part. He thought he was winning, flaunting new gear, tagging locations he never used to afford, flexing a consulting gig that sounded more like a lie he was still figuring out how to explain. I didn't stop him. Not when he leased that ridiculous black SUV he posted about every week. Not when he booked a last-minute trip to Miami and captioned it, "Earned, not given." Not even when he threw a party at the lake house, our dad's old place, and live-streamed it with music so loud you could practically smell the tequila through the screen. He was spiraling, loudly, but I kept quiet. Instead, I visited the courthouse. I filed the fraud report officially, with notarized copies of every document. The forged signature, the call logs, the bank trail, even the metadata from his Instagram stories. I submitted a civil claim tied directly to the loan default and backed it with my clean record, credit history, and, most importantly, my attorney's signature. See, what Matt didn't realize was that stealing my identity for a loan wasn't just a betrayal. It was paperwork, and paperwork is my language. I filed for judgment, not arrest, not revenge in the way he probably feared. Just cold, legal consequence. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that takes things. He was too busy spending money he didn't earn to notice the quiet knock of due process. I even made sure he got served while he was out of town, so the letter sat unopened in his mailbox for days. When he finally saw it, he posted nothing for 3 whole days. Which, for Matt, was basically radio silence. I didn't hear from him. Didn't want to. But my attorney did. Apparently, Matt tried to negotiate over the phone. Said it was a misunderstanding. Said I was overreacting. He still thought this was a family spat. It wasn't. This was math. A breach. A penalty. A transfer of assets. And every day he ignored it, my case got stronger. So I waited. Went to work. Cooked dinner. Meanwhile, the court date crept closer. So did the default judgment he didn't understand was already forming behind him. I think the silence is what messed with him most. No yelling. No big confrontation. Just the sound of his own footsteps walking into the trap he built himself. And me? I didn't lift a finger. Not yet. The morning of the hearing arrived like any other, except it wasn't. I woke earlier than usual, heart steady, but mind sharp. Today wasn't just another court date. It was the moment everything I'd been preparing for finally came to a head. My lawyer and I met at the courthouse, a grey building looming in the spring fog. I carried my folder, thick with evidence, affidavits, and every scrap of proof that told Matt's story better than he ever could. It felt heavier than it should, like holding all the weight of years of silent frustration. Inside, the courtroom was cold and sterile, but filled with an expectant hush. I scanned the room. No Matt. No surprise there. Not showing up was his signature move. Pretend it's not real, hope it disappears. The judge entered, an older man with sharp eyes behind thin glasses. He called the case, and my lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we present the case of David Merrill versus Matthew Merrill," she began. "We assert that the defendant fraudulently used Mr. Merrill's identity to secure a personal loan amounting to $92,000, causing severe financial harm." She paused, then laid out the timeline. The forged application, the e-signature lifted from an old document, call logs linking Matt's phone number to the loan verification, the social media posts flaunting luxury purchases that the defendant clearly couldn't afford. As my lawyer spoke, I could feel my past silence echoing loudly in the courtroom. Every detail carefully collected, every lie Matt told unraveling piece by piece. The judge looked up. Has the defendant responded to these allegations? No, Your Honor, my lawyer said. He has not appeared or responded to any legal notices. The silence that followed was thick. The judge then turned to me. Mr. Merrill, do you wish to address the court? I rose, swallowing the lump in my throat. Yes, Your Honor. This isn't just about money. It's about responsibility. About trust broken by someone I called family. I didn't want this to come to court. I wanted to fix it quietly. But when someone steals your identity, it's not just a number. It's your life, your reputation, your peace. The judge nodded thoughtfully, then asked, and the assets listed? The vacation home on Lakewood Drive, I said, and the black SUV Matt has been flaunting. They're part of what he used or gained during this fraud. I seek to have these assets claimed to cover the damages. There was a pause before the judge finally spoke. Given the defendant's absence and the overwhelming evidence, the court rules in favor of Mr. Merrill. The legal claim to the assets named is granted to satisfy the outstanding debt. A soft gavel strike sealed the verdict. The courtroom felt suddenly empty, like the echo of what was lost. Outside, I felt a complex storm inside me, relief, sorrow, even a strange kind of regret. Matt had lost more than a house or a car. He lost trust. I lost a brother. My lawyer clapped me on the shoulder. You did good. I nodded, but my mind was already miles away, imagining the lake house again. The quiet mornings, the family dinners long ago, before everything fell apart. As I left the courthouse, reporters called out for statements. I smiled politely, but said nothing. Some battles are private. Driving home, I glanced at my phone. No message from Matt. Just silence. For once, I welcomed it. Because this time, justice wasn't loud or messy. It was quiet, deliberate, and final. And for the first time in years, I was the one holding the keys. The courtroom battle was over, but the story didn't end there. In fact, it was only the beginning of a quieter kind of reckoning. I sat alone one evening in the lake house living room. Windows open to the gentle rustle of trees and the distant lapping of the lake water. The space smelled faintly of dust and old wood, memories pressed into every corner. It wasn't the house I dreamed of owning, but it was mine now. And that meant something. I thought about Matt, about what all this had cost him, and what it had cost me. He lost far more than a vacation home or a car. He lost creditworthiness, trust, and with it, doors that don't easily open again. But me? I came out of it unscathed in all the ways that mattered. Not because I fought dirty, not because I yelled or threw accusations, because I stayed steady, quiet, methodical. I never stooped to his level. Instead, I relied on facts, evidence, and the patience to let the law take its course. There's a strange power in that silence, in not reacting to provocation, in letting truth do the heavy lifting. I realized something important. What he stole wasn't truly mine to begin with. It was a betrayal of trust, an invasion of privacy, a reckless gamble with my life. But what I took back was justice, measured, fair, and final. It wasn't about winning a prize or rubbing salt in wounds. It was about reclaiming my life, piece by piece. The keys in my hand felt heavier and lighter all at once. He thought he could take from me without consequence. But in the end, it was he who lost. There's a strange kind of peace in that. I'm not naive. I know this won't fix everything. Our relationship is fractured, maybe beyond repair. But for the first time, I feel free from the shadow his actions cast over me. And that's something I never thought I'd say. Because sometimes, the biggest victories aren't loud or flashy. Sometimes, they're the quiet moments when you take back what's yours, without breaking yourself in the process. I stood, looking out over the lake as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with streaks of orange and purple. This house, these keys, they're not just possessions. They're a new beginning. A reminder that no matter what someone else tries to take from you, you have the power to reclaim your life. On my own terms. And that, more than anything, is worth holding on to.